welcome back to episode 7, the David Squared podcast. We're approaching those double digits. Anyway, we already have triple digits, just a lot of them are zeros. Anyway, as always, my name is David.
And my name is David.
And let's begin. So, David, what's new?
Well, the end of school. That's right around the corner.
It is right around the corner. For those who don't know, our school typically gets out earlier than most other schools in the country. So, generally speaking.
At the time of recording, we have 7 days of school left. That is 1 week. It's basically just finals week and then 2 more days of finals and we're out.
Yeah, we recorded this on the 15th.
Yes.
So I've rewatched Megamind recently. Have you seen that movie?
I have not seen it. I've heard a lot about it, though.
Yeah, so it's a DreamWorks movie, and it's kind of a spoof on the superhero movie, not specifically Superman movies, actually. More of a riff on those old DC movies than the more recently popular Marvel movies, but the premise behind the movie is from the get-go, you basically Megamind, who comes from a race of blue alien men who are bald and have big heads. His planet is being sucked into a black hole, and he's put on a ship that's basically taken away from the planet as it's being consumed to save him as the last of his kind. Well, turns out some other parents on another planet who happen to look more like humans had the exact same idea and send this other kid home too. And Megamind was about to land in a mansion where he would be adopted and raised, but the other kid got there first, bounced him away, and his pod went flying into a prison where he was raised. So the rest of the movie follows, then we see a montage of gradually the other kid grew up to be the superhero known as Metro Man, defender of Metro City, whereas our main character grew up to be the supervillain Megamind, criminal mastermind. So we follow Megamind in one of his most recent plot. He had to kidnap, of course, Roxanne Ritchie, who is the Lois Lane counterpart, and capture and kill Metro Man in a way that, but it turns out he wasn't actually planning to succeed, really, because obviously Metro Man can just get out of his confinement. It was a very ill thought out plan. Well, this time, Megamind succeeds in killing Metro Man, and the movie follows what happens next to a villain without a hero.
From what I've seen with this movie, it has been heavily memed.
DreamWorks movies tend to receive that treatment.
I wonder why that is, because it's like, you're kind of right. Every DreamWorks movie, there are always just tons of memes about them.
Except like Prince of Egypt, but...
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw the recent Bad Guys movie from DreamWorks. Have you seen this one? You probably haven't. I know you're not a huge movie guy.
I haven't seen it, but I have seen some of the memes about it.
Of course you have. It's a ridiculous heist movie. It's better than it looks in the trailers, but honestly, it's better than a lot of stuff DreamWorks has put out recently. I'm hoping DreamWorks makes a comeback because it looks like it looks like the future of animation is honestly Sony. Like, sure, Disney's been upping its game a little bit recently, but between Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Mitchell's versus the Machines, which is a movie I absolutely adore, it seems like Sony's upping its game. So, David, what have you been up to?
Well, with the heat rising up, summer work has really been picking up because I don't know why this is, but like a lot of the work I do, example, a job I did yesterday was pulling out stumps for someone. No one does these jobs when it's like nice and cool out. They wait until it's about the hottest day in the world, and then they're like, "Hey, can you come do this job for me?"
Well, they can do it themselves when it's nice out. I mean, that's part of it.
I mean, this one person, they have a job where it needs to be very dry. I'm literally going to be digging out a creek bed. And they came to me in the winter and said, let's do it in the spring, when it's raining a bunch.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so...
Yeah, summer heat brings summer dumbness and work.
So I have a dog, and
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you, it's tick season.
Oh, yes, it is tick season.
Yeah, so you know how there's this big forest outback, our old middle school?
Mm-hmm.
So I live kind of near there, and I've been hiking around there recently.
Right.
It's a nice place, but lots of bugs. And they've recently put up these condescending signs like, shh, listen to nature. There's another one too, I forget what it was, but it was just so over the
Condescending nature signs.
Yeah. You could say that those signs are condescending in nature. Okay, I'll take
With
it.
ticks, I've been riding my dirt bike around a little bit with some friends, and it's like every time you stop, every 15 minutes, you need to like completely just pull like 30 ticks off of you. It's awful.
Ticks don't particularly like me, although I have gotten a couple. Actually, you know what I'm very lucky about? I have the rare condition of not being allergic to poison ivy.
That, I bet, is very useful.
Yeah, it's like a superpower, ready to go fight Thanos. And if he uses his poison ivy on me, I'll be ready.
So I was curious of, is it just poison ivy, or is it also things like poison oak or like kudzu?
I haven't had as much experience with those, so I don't know. I mean,
Because I know
I'm
I did a
not
bunch.
I'm not 100% sure of it yet, but I've gone out in some situations when I should have suffered from some poison ivy and I didn't.
That is, I have heard of that before. One of my friend's brothers, I think, is the same way. But it's you got to wonder why and like how that happens.
Well, part of it is that the danger of poison ivy is that basically the immune system considers it a threat and starts throwing ammunition at it, basically, and that leads to the condition. So basically, my immune system's smarter than all of y'all's.
The higher IQ immune system.
Yeah, that's how it definitely works. Now, yeah. In my business law class, we finished our crime podcast. At some point, I want to do a crime podcast parody. I know we were going to do that in April, but it didn't get done, so...
It sounds fun. It really does.
We even got a theme song for it. That's a distorted version, kind of Old Berlin March.
Yep.
Yeah, so we got that.
It's just something doesn't sound quite right about it.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, and I did some musical stuff to make that happen. Some honestly kind of lazy musical stuff. If yeah, future the podcast. Who knows what the future of the podcast should bring? Maybe one day we should binge and review the Twilight movies.
Oh no.
Hey, I see. Here's the thing. I've always kind of wanted to see them just so I could be like part of the club that gets to make fun of them. You know what I mean?
Yes, that does sound fun.
Like, I want to be able to make fun of them, and I can't without seeing them. But, I don't know. One day, David.
One day.
So, moving into our topics, should we start with exams?
Sure.
Alright, so, have you had any of your finals yet?
Not yet.
Okay. I haven't had any finals per se, but I have had an AP test in what we'll call, so as not to disclose my current grade, AP Martian History.
That's a class? Oh, yes.
Yeah, because
Okay.
Freshmen tend to take APUG, AP Human Geography. Sophomores tend to take AP World History. Juniors take AP US History, and just seniors sometimes take AP Euro or AP Government sometimes. Or there's a lot of them, but we'll call it AP Martian History, so as not to disclose it. And I'll tell you, that exam is rough. Must have been in that room. You've heard?
I've heard it from a couple of friends that have some similar AP classes, and they said it's a very rough exam.
You're in that room for like 3.5 hours.
Jeez.
I think you get a 10-minute break about halfway through. But no, it's rough. Also, you're sat at a desk with someone else. You have to put your chair legs on the outside of the table legs so you can't scooch in close and be like, "Psst, what'd you get? I got the Venusian invasion of 39 BC." But
what is the exam or the testing type? Is it like a written final, or is it like a test?
Well, I was gonna say, you kind of bond with your table mate even though you don't talk to him. But here's how it goes. So first, you get the stimulus-based multiple choice system. So you might get, you'll get a document, which might be, say, a memoir by the president of Northern Mars from 59 BC, and by the way, this is all made up. There aren't any Martians. We don't know any Martians. This podcast is not sponsored by Martians. Chris Hemsworth is not half Martian. Anyway, continuing. So, basically, you'll get a document, either an image or some letter or like document or whatever, and they'll ask you. I think it's typically like 3 to 6 questions about that document. I don't know the exact amount. There's 55 of these multiple choice questions that you have to finish in 55 minutes, and you gotta bubble in your answers like the PSAT and actually, I'm not sure that's how the ACT works, but you get what I mean.
Yes, that's how the ACT works.
Yeah, I don't think I've taken any pre-ACTs. I don't know. I don't know. Here, here in our region of the country, we get the definitely exists SACs.
Yes, those are very difficult. I usually opt to not take them.
Yeah, I know. There's one. Yeah, there's a there's a college deep underground that accepts them, and then there's a college on the moon that accepts them. What's even happening with this lore?
It's growing very fast.
It is growing very fast, but I'm fine. I'm fine, David. You're not gonna get you're not gonna get COVID. Don't worry. You're over there, 6 miles away.
Well, it's a good thing that our studio is 6 miles apart.
I know. So, continuing with what I was saying. Yeah, so you get 55 minutes for that, and then you get however long for the short answer questions. And the short answer questions are 4 questions. You have to answer the first 2, and then either 3 or 4. And then you get... And then you have to give a short answer for the 3 parts of the question. There are some rules based around it, but that's the essential bit of it. Then you break for 10 minutes. I forget how long you get for the SAQ. Then you get an hour and 40 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, for the DBQ and LEQ, which is the SAQ is short answer questions, the DBQ is document-based questions, the LEQ is long essay questions. And I think I actually did pretty well with the document-based question. There's something called the complexity point, which is dreaded among the AP world because it's hard to get. Only 2% of students ever get it, I think. But I think I might have gotten it, to be honest, on the DBQ. There's no way I got it on the LEQ, but on the DBQ, I probably did.
Do you know what the average scores for this difficult of an exam usually are?
Well, you get a score between 1 and 5. And 3 is a passing score, and I think most colleges will accept that for some credit. Some stingy colleges only give you college credit if you get a 4 on this score. And then for getting a 4 or a 5, sometimes you get even more credit. So 5 would be optimal. I might have gotten a 5. I think I probably got a 4 or 5, to be honest, because just on the exam, I feel pretty confident, I say, before getting a 1 back in the mail. But anyway, I think it depends on the exam, but I think generally around half of all students get a 3 or higher, and I think it's something like 5 to 10% get a 5. So...
Well, if you did get a 4 or 5, very well done.
Yeah, we'll get our scores back in July. I feel like I need to keep us posted. Now, I forgot to mention this in the earlier section, but did you see that our most recent video, it's been blown up. It has 1 view.
Wow, 1... Oh my goodness, we might get on national news with that.
I know, it came out 2 weeks ago too. Guys, if you're listening, show that episode some love, okay? Please.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at the thumbnail.
I mean, the thumbnail it's perfect.
Yeah, I know. I know we have 1 or 2 devoted fans who follow the podcast sometimes. So, David, have you actually looked at that episode? Because I'm curious. Have you actually clicked on it and looked at it?
I haven't clicked on it and listened to it just because I recorded it, but I probably should start doing it. Maybe it'll help kind of bump it a little bit.
No, but that means that our 1 view, I haven't clicked on it either, which means our 1 view is a genuine not us view.
That is success.
Yeah.
It's not one of my 32 accounts.
Nope. And I know Chris doesn't technically know the name of this podcast, so it couldn't have been him.
No, it couldn't have been.
Well, that pretty much concludes exams. Sorry, I feel like I've been ranting about the AP exam the whole time.
It's interesting to me because I haven't taken an AP class, so I really just have no clue what the AP exams are all about. Because I hear people just going crazy over them and stressing so much.
Yeah, I wasn't too stressed. Actually, okay, if you are a student of AP Government, AP World History, AP US History, AP European History, if you're a student of any of those classes, there's a guy on YouTube called Steve Heimler who does a channel called Heimler's History. You've probably heard of this. But he knows the curriculum. He's a history teacher. He knows the curriculum, and he makes videos following the curriculum. They're very short. They have they have very good examples and content, and they help you know the content and themes that the College Board is looking for in each of the units. Let's just say we have an expression in AP Martian history. Praise Heimler. Anyway,
It's very interesting.
but yeah, he's like he's the guy. He's like, you know how when no one understands math, they go to the guy on YouTube who always knows it. I don't know who it is, but there's always a guy, right?
Like Khan Academy.
Yeah, Khan Academy. He's really the Khan Academy of the history world. So, moving on, tell me, David, how is soda a scam?
Soda is very much a scam because if you look at the price it costs to buy versus the price to produce, it is drastically different.
Okay.
Because what you're paying for when you buy, let's say you just buy what's the average size? I think it's 18 fluid ounces or something like that. Even just a 2-liter. When you buy that bottle, what you are paying for is the plastic. And even the plastic alone is only maybe 10 cents to produce.
Yeah, so
The soda itself is less than a few cents, maybe a gallon to produce. So really, I should restate that. What you're paying for is advertising and shipping costs. The production cost is extremely low.
okay. Yeah, so do you think if you added in the shipping and production cost, I mean, those are still costs to the company to get the soda into your hands, though, aren't they?
Well, I think that for a singular bottle of soda to ship that from I don't know where they manufacture these soda bottles, depending on the company, it'll all be different. But to ship those wherever it shouldn't be somewhere around even if like the costs are really high. Let's say I'm going to over exaggerate and say it's 30 cents to produce just one bottle of soda.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I mean, you're shipping so many soda bottles at the same time, like thousands in a truckload, that it shouldn't cost up to $1 to ship that to a place for a grand total of $1.30 for a bottle of soda.
I mean, that's a fair point, but also the companies want to make money, and they're the ones kind of putting it all together. And they do want
But it seems like they want to make a lot of money because, I mean, I know inflation has a lot to do with this, but soda used to be, what was it, like, 15 cents. You go to McDonald's and you pay like a quarter, a nickel to get a soda.
We all know that the Geico Gecko is to blame for inflation.
Yes.
This is canonical fact.
Damn Gecko.
Yeah. But, no, I think that See, but here's the question: if it's so cheap to produce, yeah, and versus how expensive it is to buy, then theoretically a company who would lower its prices would stand to make even slightly would stand to make a large profit because over the other companies.
Well, there is proof of how cheap this can get. I did some Googling around before we got on here. There's a soda company, I forgot the name, but it's out of India, and they sell their bottles for 20 cents.
Sounds like it needs better advertising. How profitable are they, do you know?
I don't know how profitable they are. I can't assume it's a lot because, well, they don't do probably any advertising because I've never heard of them. So they probably do no advertising, but that's also what keeps their costs down because they don't have to pay. Because, I mean, think about it. Pepsi hosts like the halftime show at the Super Bowl. That has got to be so much money to pay for.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. Well, if they're in India, you probably haven't heard of. Makes sense you haven't heard of them because we all know India is a province in Canada, and we're American.
Yeah, and of course, countries are. I mean, why would I ever hear about anything going on in Canada?
Yeah, exactly. We're great at geography, by the way. Okay.
Our geography teacher even gave us a F for fantastic.
I know. What are we doing here, man? Anyway. Yeah, so in fact, our geography teacher didn't even bother giving us each Fs. He just said, you two combined get an F.
Yeah, I mean, it was like we're just that fantastic of students. I mean, I can't believe my GPA just. I mean, because GPA is like golf, right? The lower, the better,
Yeah, duh. Okay. Oh man. Anyway, so yeah. I mean, the question is, there's always going to be a markup to make profit. The question is, when is that at what point does that markup, there's a balance to be had when you're running a business where if you mark it up too much, people won't pay just for your product and move to the competition. But on the other side, you make more money for every purchase. But the flip side is true when you reduce prices drastically, is people are willing to buy your product more, but they're not paying as much for it. So the question is where is that balance? And I mean this is basic. This is fairly basic economics. I'm not an economics genius or anything, but.
Well, I think there's at least for a market like soda, where it's very quick consumable and everything like that, is that the markup can always be justified by the amount of marketing for it. So, like a soda that I really like to enjoy is called what's it? Dr. Thunder. Dr. Thunder is a Walmart brand. It's great value, but in my opinion, I think it's better tasting, and a couple of my friends agree that it's better tasting than a lot of the more popular brands like Pepsi. It's cheaper by what is it? It's like 50 to 70 cents cheaper for a bottle, but there's zero marketing for it, which means that they're not going to get anywhere as near as much sales.
Yeah, but that also comes to the question of, if you do marketing, you're going to get more sales. That's the whole reason behind marketing. So, as long as you're making enough. I know, it's tricky because. It's tricky, but generally, a company wants to sell more, so advertising, in theory, should account for itself. in terms of
Right.
profits. But yeah, no, because there are certain brands everyone's heard of, and one of the weird things is some of those brands you don't see a ton of advertising for. I mean, Pepsi and Coke have a lot of advertising, of course, but no.
Well, one that I just thought of that I don't think I've ever seen a commercial for, yet it still seems not widely popular, but it's at a couple of gas stations that I'll go to, is Big Red.
I've never heard of it. I'm not a real big soda drinker, by the way, so no.
Big Red has been around since I think 1937. I mean, they're at like Quick Trip. I think Quick Trip is one of the only places I've seen it. Grandstand Burgers, I think, is another place where I've seen them, and that's it. I've never seen a commercial for them.
The 1937, the era when the economy was booming, and the world had finally found peace.
Yeah. 37.
That was in the middle of the Great Depression in the lead up to World War II, by the way.
Yeah, I was about to say, didn't World War II start right after that?
Yeah, it started 2 years later. There was a lot of global tension at the time, and the global economies were crashing. So
That's almost incredible. How did a company like Big Red start and stay around? It's pretty much starting right in the thick of all the mess.
There's an interesting idea that is, when an economy is crashing, or when an economy isn't doing too well, products that are of actual value with a good, relatively safe economic appeal can actually thrive when everything else is crashing. It doesn't happen a lot, but there are ways that new products can take advantage of a failing economy if they're providing. Because you mentioned they were really cheap. I imagine getting cheap quality soda at that time would have been very helpful, because you're working and that soda would make it more enjoyable, but you're not choosing soda over food if it's cheap like that. That's assuming that it was cheap. It was as cheap back then as it is now. Relative to inflation and all that.
That is a very good point. Another thing interesting about Big Red soda is how I don't know if it's just me or if it's just because I'm one of the kids that just grew up drinking soda all the time, which is probably not good for health. But like things like Coke and Pepsi and all those all just taste the same to me. Big Red almost tastes like bubble gum. It's a very different flavor, which that might have even.
Another thing I don't have, gum.
Man, I can't go with that.
Oh man, I don't. See,
that's something that's an interesting point. A pack of gum is somewhere around the same price, maybe a little bit more expensive as a bottle of soda. A bottle of soda has so much less in it. I mean, a pack of gum has the packaging, the wrappers for the gum, and then the gum itself. A bottle of soda is just plastic and some liquid. There's no way those prices can compare.
Yeah, well, yeah. No, I think that... See, back to that point, this is what makes the podcast work. David and I are deeply different people but we think the same way, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's about it for the episode. So, yeah, we hope you enjoyed. Maybe at some point this summer we'll do a Twilight marathon.
that could be. It'd be painful but fun.
Oh my gosh, David, you should invite like all your friends over to do it with us. I'm sure they would all enjoy that.
Oh my gosh, that would be a blast.
Oh yeah, it'd be awful, but it'd be a blast. I actually heard, on a related note, I know we're wrapping up, but I heard that like movie 1 is awful, movie 2 is awful, movie 3 is awful. The movie 4 part 1 is awful, and then in like 4 part 2 or 5, depending on how you count, because all young adult movies apparently split the last one into two. Somehow it's slightly better and it's mediocre. That's what I've
Well,
heard.
at least we can end on a high note to try and forget all the torture we went through with the past 4.
No. I feel like now that we've put it in a podcast, we have to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, well, that's our that's our show for the month. We'll see you next month. And yeah, until next time, insert catchphrase here.